Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. Hope your day is going really good. Today we're gonna be previewing this Dodgers Padres series, and we'll be going over each team, kind of talking about who's been hot in terms of the lineup, who's actually been surprising for the Dodgers, especially because they had kind of a lot of question marks heading into this year, and kind of who's been up and down for the Padres and who's playing well right now. And then also we'll get into these pitching matchups as well. But I mean, overall, just kind of first thoughts on the series, Isaac. What are you looking at? What stands out to you in this one?
Well, what stands out to me is the last series, the NLDS, where the Padres beat the Dodgers 3-1, and obviously it's kind of going to be one of the main topics of this game. Is the Padres got Xander Bogaerts has finally turned into a rivalry. The Dodgers lost this many guys, but last time these two met each other, they were two pretty different teams. And now that the Padres are finally kind of taking ground on the Dodgers, they beat them. They eliminated them in their highest win total season ever, I think. I mean, this is a rivalry now, and it's something that the Dodgers fans and the Dodgers are kind of starting to embrace. You saw that they were supposed to have Syndergaard on the bump at first, and now they took him out. They swapped him out. They threw in Urias instead of Syndergaard, and they still got Kershaw and May going. And Dave Roberts admired, hey, we want to throw our three best guys against the Padres. That kind of is a telling sign for everything. So I think what kind of stands out is that this is a newfound, and it was kind of starting to ignite in 2021. But this is a newfound rivalry in baseball. This is something that we've all been looking forward to all season, playing against the Dodgers. Fernando's back against the Dodgers. He does normally pretty well against the Dodgers. He hit a ball. I mean, the last ball I remember him hitting off of, I forgot, Tony Gonsolin went 467 feet. So he does pretty well against them. But yeah, obviously what's going to stand out is that last NLDS, and this is the first matchup ever since then. Three really good matchups. You got Darvish versus it's Clayton Kershaw versus Joe Musgrove, Darvish versus Dustin May, and Blake Snell versus Julio Urias. Those are three primetime matchups, if you ask me. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be a super fun series. The Dodgers are kind of hot right now. They just swept the Phillies. Max Muncy hit a walk-off grand slam for them, but the Padres are hard as well. I guess you can kind of say sort of swept. The Giants, it was only a 2-game series, but they also took the series against the Reds. They beat the Braves earlier this year. It's not like the Padres aren't hot right now. They're getting hot. The problem is that the Dodgers are also getting hot. So it seems like both of these teams are running into each other at the wrong time. But it's going to be a super fun series, man. Everyone's going to be tuning in, I believe, Sundays on Sunday Night Baseball. So we know that the Padres have historically struggled against the Dodgers in the regular season, but it's a new season, and there's new faces, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, 100%. And you look at the matchups for both these teams, and you brought up the new faces. Pitching wise, it's not going to look that way. You got Kershaw against Musgrove. We were talking about it before we got on the stream that it was like, dude, like Kershaw's literally just our entire lives has just been insanely good against the Padres. Now, the last few times they've won against them, it's been a little bit more even. We've seen both Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis have a lot of success against him. But overall, I mean, Kershaw still pitched really well. But his career numbers against the Padres are insane. Then you got Dustin May after that. I mean, we know that May pitches against the Padres super well. I haven't really looked into how he's done this year, but I'm expecting him to kind of have a little bit of a bounce back this year after not being himself last season coming off Tommy John. But he's an absolute stud. And then you have Urias, also pitches the Padres really well. But then you look at on the Padres side, and it's like you got Musgrove, Darvish, and Snell, and I feel like we're all confident in those guys in this matchup as well. So it's like it's your best three for each rotation, which I think is super exciting to see. And I think it's great for baseball. I think it's great to kind of have this matchup because, I mean, in the last couple of years, like this has been one of the more exciting matchups to watch in terms of two division opponents going up against each other. So I'm pumped for it. And then kind of flipping a little bit, when you look at some of those new faces like you brought up, Isaac, I mean, for the Dodgers right now, Max Muncy's going crazy, but another guy that's been really good, James Outman, he's kind of coming in for Cody Bellinger, and he's been awesome as well. So that's a big guy there. And they also added Jason Hayward. So those are going to be the guys that have been surprisingly playing really well. The Dodgers lineup has been excellent this year. We've seen that the Padres lineup has struggled. However, they've started to turn the corner the last few days. So we're going to see, a big test this weekend for this Padres lineup. Tatis has been here for a little bit now. Juan Soto's starting to get right. Manny Machado looks like he's starting to get right. Xander Bogaerts has been great all year. and all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're getting good at the right time. Perfect. Here you go. Three guys that you've seen. I mean, not everyone on this team because Xander just came here. Soto hasn't been here very long. But for the majority of these guys, like you've seen Kershaw, May, and Urias for a lot in your career, like at least the last few years. So it'll be exciting. I think this is a really good matchup both ways. I think we're going to see a lot of back and forth baseball like we've seen over the past couple seasons when these two teams have matched up. So I'm looking forward to it. But Isaac, what are you feeling about a couple of these new faces on both squads, really?
When you look at the Padres, it's really a lot of familiar faces, but the one new face that's kind of been popping off that everyone should know about right now, he has like an 880 OPS. He prior to this Juan Soto blunder today had a 29 on base 29 game on base streak. One of the hottest hitters in baseball, Xander Bogaerts, who's also been playing fantastic defense. He's kind of been for a while. He carried the Padres lineup in terms of being able to put up runs. It was really just him because Juan Soto and Manny Machado were struggling so heavily. But Xander Bogaerts was on a 29 game hit streak. He was kind of feeling under the weather, so he wasn't able to play in the second game against the Reds. Obviously, third game against the Reds, he technically had a hit, but in the scorebook, it's not going to show as a hit because Juan Soto messed up on the base path. So that kind of went wrong for him. But that's really the new face that's been carrying the Padres throughout the season. And then you look at Big Nelly Cruz. He has a 1,000 OPS in the last 7 games, had 5 hits in Mexico. And granted, some of these guys' numbers might be a little inflated because of Mexico, but Nelly Cruz has been pretty solid throughout the season. He doesn't look that bad. Like, I think prior to the season, before that we found out it was only for $1 million, people were kind of concerned. But even if this was for like another million or two, you'd still be pretty happy because he's producing at the plate. The only pitch he's struggling on right now is that slider or the I forgot what they call it now, the sweeper, low and out. He keeps swinging at it, but other than that, he's mashing right now. Matt Carpenter, as well as having himself a really good season. Those 3 new faces kind of been batting 4.56 or 4.5 at the least. They've been helping the Padres out a lot for sure, especially during Manny and Juan's struggles. But seems like Manny Machado and Juan Soto's struggles aren't really there no more. Juan Soto has over 1,000 OPS in his last 7 games. He's hitting over 500 in his last 6 or 7 games as well. Manny Machado, same thing, over 1,000 OPS in his last 7 games. These guys are starting to get hot at the right time. We had kind of been preaching like, be patient, be patient, be patient. They're going to start getting hot. Keep in mind, they play at Petco Park. Petco Park in April, oh my God, you know how hard it probably is to hit there? Like, you look at them in Mexico and you look at them in Petco, it's like the biggest difference ever. The ball does not fly in Petco. They were hitting pop flies and the ball was going out in Mexico. So it's a very difficult place to hit in April, and things are starting to get better for the Padres. Normally starts getting better to hit there in June, July, August. But yeah, man, these guys are getting hot at the right time. Of course, I didn't get to talk about Mr. Fernando Tatis Jr. He was on a 9-game hit streak, but the OPS, the average, it might not show it right now, but he's quietly been pretty good. It's just that the slugging hasn't been there. But historically in his career, he slugs over 500, over 600 even at that. So we know the power is going to be there eventually. And the last time that he was kind of in a rut, here comes him against the Dodgers. He hits 5 home runs in 3 games. So, I keep saying it. Fernando's pretty good against LA. And hopefully we see that again this upcoming series. But, the 3 guys that have been really hot, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and Nelly Cruz. And you could even throw Matt Carpenter in there. But that's not to say that this Padres lineup from top to bottom hasn't been hot. Trent Grisham had 3 hits today against the Reds, almost at an 800 OPS. Ha-seong Kim is looking a lot better at the plate. Jake Cronenworth looks good at the plate always. It's like you're not going to catch any breaks like they were able to last year throughout most of the season against the Padres.
Yeah, no, that's super true. And also with the Fernando stuff, like you brought up, I'm going to put a short out tomorrow just on how Fernando's played against the Dodgers because I feel like you said, he was in a rut at the beginning of that 2021 season, coming back, being banged up a little bit, and he just kind of flipped the switch then and got super hot that series and then balled out for the rest of the year, almost took home the MVP award. So we'll see if you see something similar in this series, but I think that overall, both these teams were playing really well. It's interesting because I feel like, I don't know. For us, we weren't really expecting the Dodgers to have some crazy fall off. Like, obviously, they lost Trey Turner and stuff, but we've talked about it time and time again that, like, they develop so well. And then what do they have? They have James Outman. He almost has an 1,000 OPS. He's coming up. He's been an absolute monster this year. So this is still a good team. Like I feel like not even like from Padre fans, like from MLB fans and like MLB media, act like the Dodgers, fell off and are going to be like an 80-win team after putting like what was it last year, like 115, 117, whatever it was. Like, dude, they're not falling off 40 wins this year. That's just not happening. So I think, I mean, anytime these teams match up, I feel like you get a lot of excitement. I feel like them pitching both, the Dodgers moving their top three in the rotation to the series, I think it means a lot. And Isaac, you also brought up kind of the aspect of, it's really hard to hit in April, May, even parts of June in Petco where it's really, really bad. We tend to see a lot that early on the Padres lineup struggles at the beginning of the season, and then they gradually heat up through the year. The overall numbers for the team, even when the team was bad, even when the team was whatever, like even when the lineup was kind of it tends to go in that direction. So I think this series might be a lot more low scoring than maybe people are like expecting it to be, just because you have all the high profile names in the lineup. But you look at who's pitching. I mean, Snell's coming off his best start, so Snell's so hit or miss, but he's done well against the Dodgers in his career. So if you get a good Snell game, I'm expecting a good game from Musgrove and Darvish. Like I just am, and I'm expecting a good game from all the Dodgers starters. So I think these are going to be maybe not low scoring because you're going to have some offense both sides, but I think it's going to be very back and forth, and I don't think we're going to see any like crazy high scoring games. But at the same time, it's going to come down to clutch hits from big hitters, and big hitters that Padre fans don't really like on the Dodgers side, and big hitters that Dodger fans don't like on the Padres side. So I'm pumped for that. But with all that said, what do you think prediction wise? Who do you think's going to win this series? Who do you think has the advantage? What are you kind of looking at right now?
Never in my life will I don't care how bad the Padres are in the future, never in my life will I pick the Dodgers to beat the Padres in a series. I'm going Padres 2-1 over the Dodgers with I'll go Kershaw winning the first game, and I'll go the Padres taking the next two. Um, I mean, I think this series kind of lines up. Who do I think is going to pop off on the Padres? I mean, I'm gonna go with Fernando Tatis Jr. I just looked up his career stats against the Dodgers, and his average isn't really there. It's only a 240, but in 37 games, he has 13 career home runs and like 20. I forgot how many RBIs, but like 20 something RBIs, 30 something RBIs. So he is pretty good against them. So I think he's gonna pop off. I think this is also a good series for Juan Soto. This is gonna be a good series for Juan Soto. Yeah, it's against two lefties, but I think he's going to be fine. He's gotten hot in these last 7 games or these last few games, and I think he's going to carry it over. But on that Dodgers side, man, I mean, they've got a couple sluggers over there too. Max Muncy at one point, I don't know if he still does, but he led the league in home runs. James Outman's, I think, over a 900 OPS. He's helping them out a lot, really filling that void for Cody Bellinger. Jason Hayward, we recently looked at his baseball savant page, and it was just stupid. Like, I could not believe my eyes when I saw how much red there was. And then who's the guy that I'm missing? Freddie Freeman has a pretty high average. I mean, top to bottom, that Dodgers lineup, like surprisingly, it looks really good. I guess not surprisingly because they always find a way. But it looks really good. But then you look at Darvish's career numbers against the Dodgers, and sorry, I had him up. Let me just find him again real quick. He is 3-5 with an ERA of 2.47 and 82 strikeouts in 10 appearances against the Dodgers. He also does pretty good against the Dodgers, and historically he wins against them. At least with the Padres, I mean, yeah, 3-5 doesn't sound too good, but it's not like they lose because of him. I remember one game, it was 1-0, him against Kershaw, and I was
he walked Kershaw with the bases loaded. You remember?
Yeah, he walked Kershaw with the base loaded. Like, bro, no fucking way, we just lost on that. Fantastic game pitched for him that day, and I really only remember one start that he really struggled against LA. So overall, he does good against them. Kershaw, even if he's faced bad teams throughout his career, he has like a 2.1 ERA against the Padres. So he's also really good against us. So these are going to be some really exciting matchups, man. I mean, like I said, I've never picking the Dodgers ever in my life in any series. So I'm going Padres here 2-1. And I think the Padres are going to keep being hot.
Yeah, and I'll go Padres 2-1 too. I like the exact same thing that you're saying. Lose on Friday, win the next two. Now, I will say, there's a very decent chance that you don't win Sunday because Snell is terrible. So you could easily end up losing the series if you just get like, oh yeah, Snell came in and he threw 100 pitches in 3 innings. There you go. That'll do it for you. But we'll see. He's coming off a good start. He seems to be kind of improving. We know how Snell is early in the season, so hopefully we get a little bit more early improvement than we typically see. And I mean, it's usually kind of gradual. Like he usually starts out awful and then it slowly starts to improve. So hopefully you see that. If we just get a quality start from Snell, I think that's a good one. I don't know, maybe not Sunday. I mean, Sunday's a tough one because Urias pitches really well, and Kershaw does too. But Musgrove also looks pretty. Like that's the thing. This is so tight. I will say, if I had to guess over the next 2 series what they're gonna finish, like I would just go, oh yeah, that's gonna be a 3-3 kind of set between the next 2 weekends. But yeah, we'll see. I'll go Padres 2-1. Same way as Isaac. I'll say Snell does well. We'll see how this one ages. It might not age very well, but probably not. It's probably going to be a disaster, but forget that. I mean, we'll look at it. So I'll go Padres 2-1 in this one. I don't think the offense is going to be crazy, but I think there's going to be 2 tight, intense games where we get to see some great defense, get to see some of these, top end players have some late inning RBIs that end up winning games, both sides. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, that's all I got. So with that said, comment your guys' predictions as well. Kind of let us know who are kind of the big guys in this series, and if we're looking at from a Dodgers or a Padres perspective, who are some guys that you're banking on having a good series for your squad, and who you kind of nervous about, who do you think's gonna either play well for the opposing team. So let us know in the comments. But with that said, thank you guys, and we'll talk to you guys very very soon, and we will be recapping this series on Sunday as well. So we'll talk to y'all then. But have a good night and see ya.